last remaining territory on the planet that could have such a designation is Antarctica.
They're going through the no-fly zone because it's a medical emergency. And what do they see? In the ice, like a huge entrance to a cave, but slanted going down.
Antarctica has always been a place of mystery, but recent claims have taken things to a whole new level. On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Elon Musk and Mel Gibson discussed that the US government shut down parts of Antarctica after a drone supposedly captured something unbelievable. Known for its icy landscapes and scientific research, the continent might be hiding secrets we've never imagined. Let's dive right into it. Whispers around the frozen tundra. Antarctica often conjures images of sprawling white landscapes, penguins waddling around icy shores, and scientists collecting climate data in harsh conditions. You hear about glacial calving or research stations battling sub-zero temperatures, but not much else. Over the years, however, rumors started bubbling up suggesting this remote continent could be harboring secrets that go far beyond anything taught in ordinary geography class. Some of these rumors focus on hidden cave entrances buried among the ice shelves. Others claim that entire alien bases might sit deep underground, explaining why the continent has so many restricted zones and hush-hush expeditions. For a while, these ideas floated around fringe communities without attracting much mainstream attention. Then, suddenly, certain first-hand testimonies began to emerge, lending some weight to these incredible stories. A surge of intrigue came from a few bold individuals who said they'd seen large holes in the ice, holes that were oddly smooth and almost perfectly round. The angles looked too precise for natural formations, and strange lights seemed to shine from within. Some said they witnessed swirling glows or heard faint humming sounds, all of which sparked intense speculation about whether something unnatural, or even extraterrestrial, might be concealed under the thick ice. Public interest shot up in the mid-2010s when a suspicious drone video supposedly caught more than it should have. Reports claim it captured a massive cave opening, leading at an angle into the ice as if it was deliberately constructed. That footage prompted talk of government responses. Skeptics shrugged it off, but conspiracy circles pointed to footage that appeared to vanish or get buried under official denials. Investigative journalists started digging, among them Linda, who had spent years researching UFOs, crop circles, and other bizarre phenomena. She began collecting stories from individuals affiliated with various Antarctic missions. One of these key informants, Brian, came forward with a range of unbelievable experiences. As more details spilled out, people couldn't help but ask, is Antarctica hiding far more than just ice cores and nesting penguins? The strange email that sparked deeper investigations. Around January 2015, Linda got an email that stood out from her usual flood of messages. She received countless tips about UFO sightings and unexplained events on a regular basis. However, this one hit different. It came from a retired United States naval officer who called himself Brian, not a random internet source. He described flying top-secret missions over Antarctica in the 1980s and 1990s, claiming to have seen things well outside any normal understanding of the region.
In January 2015, I got an email from a retired naval flight engineer. He's asked me to call him only Brian in the world public, and this is what he told me.
Brian had over 4,000 flight hours, giving him plenty of time in the skies, often over the most desolate parts of Antarctica. To him, transporting supplies and scientists became routine, until one mission changed everything. He told Linda about encountering a weird circular formation in the snow, measuring at least 200 feet across and seemingly radiating its own light. The entire flight crew was taken aback. They first thought it might be a crevice, but up close, it appeared to descend like a sloped opening, inviting them to look into the depths. When their instruments started failing, communications, radar, navigation, they realized this was no simple ice cave. It felt like a bubble of electromagnetic interference, almost as if the environment itself was repelling them. Their repeated attempts to hover or pass near the formation ended in bizarre malfunctions. The plane's controls kept freezing, and the only apparent way to escape was to pull the aircraft away from that place. Upon landing, Bryan and his team were met by men in dark suits who demanded the return of flight logs and any recorded evidence. They implied the crew had wandered into restricted airspace and that everything they witnessed was classified. The official stance was to deny anything unusual, and the group was ordered to stay silent. For decades, Bryan complied. Only in retirement did the guilt of keeping secrets become too heavy, and that's when he reached out to Linda. She was already investigating odd happenings in Antarctica, murmurs of alien bases, missing data from research stations, and unexplainable seismic readings. Bryan's testimony fit neatly into the bigger picture she'd been assembling, one that revolved around suspicious no-fly zones and unknown phenomenon, early expeditions and the world's biggest secret. Historically, Antarctica drew explorers like Admiral Richard Byrd, who documented flights over both polar regions long before modern technology made it easier. Byrd was known for occasional claims of discovering unexpected lands filled with lush greenery and massive creatures during a 1947 expedition. His accounts sounded stranger than fiction and were brushed aside as illusions or unconfirmed stories. Still, mention of Byrd's name causes eyebrows to rise among those who follow these mysteries. Some suspect he stumbled upon hidden channels or advanced technology lurking below the ice. Back then, official interference was likely easier to carry out. Less global media, limited satellite coverage, and restricted communication. Decades later, these rumors about hidden worlds and advanced crafts found new life through people like Bryan. He claimed that during his flights, he occasionally saw disc-like objects performing maneuvers no known aircraft could replicate. In one incident, a massive silver disc soared near a mountain range, abruptly shifted angles, then vanished with incredible speed. Standard explanations like research drones or advanced jets fell short, especially given the silent, effortless way these objects moved through the Antarctic skies. One of Bryan's scariest moments came when his plane's systems failed near another eerie opening in the ice, a place that seemed to glow from within. He lost nearly all control of his aircraft and only regained it miles later, as if something had forcibly displaced him. This level of disruption pointed to a powerful unknown force, or at least technology far beyond normal comprehension. Putting these accounts alongside Admiral Byrd's older claims and more recent satellite anomalies created a dramatic storyline. Perhaps Antarctica is no longer just a remote boundary of Earth, but a clandestine site for something beyond everyday science and politics. Linda's deep dive into Antarctica's weirdness. Linda, renowned for researching everything from cattle mutilations to alleged alien abductions, took Bryan's stories and compared them to other pieces of Antarctic lore she'd collected. She had a knack for documenting testimonies from ex-military folks, atmospheric scientists, and polar researchers who privately confessed to witnessing bizarre events, random no-fly zones that popped up without explanation, unusual signals from deep under the ice, and unmarked convoys traveling to off-grid sites. One lead pointed to a suspicious string of satellite images showing domed or geometric shapes emerging in the middle of nowhere, only to disappear in the next set of images. Official channels claimed they were shadows or routine pixel anomalies. Linda, however, saw patterns, almost like constructed structures that were later purposely concealed. She also spoke to a communications specialist from a research station who caught strange pulses on certain frequencies. These pulses had a consistent rhythm, unlike natural static or typical station chatter. They seemed to rise from underground, surpassing known technology or typical geological data. While some pinned it on polar ionospheric effects, the magnitude and regularity of these signals felt artificial. Adding to the mystery, Linda uncovered stories of scientists who died abruptly after contacting her or other curious journalists. Their obituaries were vague, offering minimal personal details. Sometimes it was an accident in the field, other times natural causes, but the timing often lined up with major anomalies or research breakthroughs. All these coincidences fueled deeper suspicions that Antarctica's secrets were being guarded at high levels. Fleet operations logs, though partially redacted, hinted at undisclosed projects. 2 or 3 times, Cargo planes loaded with heavy drilling equipment were apparently sent to remote Antarctic outposts that weren't on official maps. Linda pieced all these fragments together into an ever-expanding puzzle, and Brian's experiences became a focal point, a direct eyewitness account of hidden phenomena. Government silence, cover-ups, and no-fly zones. One consistent theme is how quickly officials clamp down on anything suggesting unusual activity in Antarctica. Brian recalled landing post-flight only to be surrounded by unidentified types in suits who confiscated tapes and logs. Others recounted receiving direct threats when they tried discussing odd sightings. No-fly zones too large to be for environmental protection fueled suspicions. The usual explanation was safeguarding wildlife or scientific sites, but certain restricted areas made little sense, especially those placed over empty ice fields. Pilots like Brian sometimes discovered these boundaries shifting, implying new hotspots had emerged and needed to be cordoned off. Then there's the abrupt closure of smaller research stations. Officially described as budget cuts or consolidations, they often coincided with episodes of vanishing staff or equipment. In some instances, all traces of a station's interior were missing, as if it had been meticulously cleaned out. A few leftover documents hinted at seismic investigations, electromagnetic anomalies, or thermal bore drilling, but actual data never surfaced. Brian eventually realized that each time he or others approached these prohibitive areas, they encountered everything from mechanical failures to strategic attempts at crowding the airspace with security flights. The bigger takeaway was straightforward. You can explore most of Antarctica, but certain edges remain locked behind layers of secrecy. Such tactics echo the Cold War's hush-hush atmosphere, reminiscent of how Admiral Byrd's claims were swiftly hushed back in his day. Even if the official line was that Byrd's accounts were simply tall tales, many suspect the clampdown was designed to bury evidence of unexplainable phenomena. Now, decades later, the approach hasn't changed much. Only the technology used to police these mysteries has evolved. Disappearances and alarming signals from the ice. Beyond sightings of craft and glowing openings, one of the darkest threads in the Antarctic puzzle is the reported disappearance of entire teams. Brian mentioned a site he flew to for a simple resupply mission. Instead of a normal offload, he found an abandoned camp, equipment scattered as though everyone fled in panic. There were no footprints, bloodstains, or obvious signs of an accident, just a ghostly silence where scientists should have been. After returning, he filed a report, but higher-ups acted oddly casual, telling him to leave it alone. Then rumors surfaced about other stations going quiet, with no formal explanation for the missing personnel. Some suggested freak accidents, others guessed extreme weather. But to Brian, the mounting pattern of vanishings tied into the bigger swirl of mysteries. Around the same time, cryptic radio transmissions started popping up. They resembled steady pulses or coded bursts emanating from deep ice layers. Ground teams who tried to locate these signals described malfunctioning gear and inaccessible terrain. One or two told Linda that each time they got close, either storms intensified or equipment just died outright. The signals thus remained unsolved. Skeptics point out that Antarctica is punishing if your gear fails. It's easy to freeze or lose your way. Yet Brian and others suspect the environment is being manipulated by whoever or whatever is behind these broadcasts. In some corners of the internet, theories range from secret labyrinths containing alien technology to lost civilizations that discovered advanced devices before official history began. Brian didn't jump to conclusions, but he couldn't dismiss the notion that these vanishings, combined with bizarre signals, indicated covert experiments or hidden powers operating under the ice. The ultimate question lurking in the background: were some of these missing individuals abducted, or did they stumble upon knowledge that threatened powerful interests? Flying objects that break all the rules. In addition to the vanishing camps, multiple pilots, including Brian, reported seeing unidentified aerial objects above the Antarctic surface. These sightings weren't just flickers of light or distant specks. Some described witnessing huge disc-shaped craft, perfectly silent and maneuvering in ways known aircraft could not match. Others claimed these vehicles would appear out of nowhere and zip off at extreme angles, defying conventional aerodynamics. One rumor focused on a flight team that encountered a silver disk nearly 100 feet wide. The craft hovered at a fixed altitude, ignoring wind currents. Then it catapulted upward without generating shock waves or sound. The flight crew's instruments briefly went haywire, and one described good old-fashioned panic as they struggled to keep their plane stable. Reports of unknown submerged objects, sometimes called USOs, also emerged. A few said they observed metallic pods coming out of the frigid sea, drifting momentarily, then diving back under the ice. If these claims hold any merit, then whoever or whatever is streaking beneath Antarctic waters wields technology that leaves barely a ripple or disturbance. Brian's own recollection of flying over the Queen Maud region recounted multiple shimmering disks appearing near a mountain range. They soared in unison, making abrupt directional shifts, leaving him and his crew stunned. After returning, any attempt to discuss what they saw was met with stony silence or threats of forced retirement. These ominous warnings only fueled speculation that top-tier organizations know a lot more than they're willing to share. Linda also found references to older data that mirrored Brian's experiences, reinforcing the idea that these advanced crafts have been active in Antarctica for decades, possibly longer. Whether they originate from secret Earth-based programs or from places far beyond is a subject of heated debate and continuing investigation. The legacy of Admiral Byrd and his controversial findings. Long before Brian's chilling experiences, Admiral Richard Byrd established himself as a pioneer by flying over both poles. In 1947, Byrd led an Antarctic expedition that, according to scattered accounts, revealed a bizarre ice-free valley, even a hidden inner land with unusual vegetation and large fauna. The notion of a warm oasis hidden inside Antarctica seemed laughable to mainstream science, but whispers claimed Byrd described advanced craft intercepting him mid-flight. When Byrd returned, the official stance was that his revelations were due to exhaustion or illusions. But conspiracy theorists have argued that Byrd was pressed to recant his claims, in part to keep possible breakthroughs in Antarctica hidden from potential enemies. Some suspect that if there truly was advanced technology or valuable resources beneath the ice, powerful authorities would have treated it like a top priority. Linking Byrd's story to Brian's testimonies shows intriguing parallels. Unexpected openings in the ice, talk of advanced craft, abrupt censorship, and suspicious no-fly zones. In Byrd's era, it was easier for governments to conceal activities. Media scrutiny wasn't as intense, and global coverage didn't exist like it does now. Yet evidently, Byrd still managed to ruffle feathers with talk of a hidden realm. Modern explorers, particularly those who speak publicly about anomalies, face similar shutdowns and skepticism. If Byrd was forced into silence, it might explain why Brian and others received those immediate threats whenever they stumbled upon something unusual. The repeated pattern implies that certain knowledge about the Antarctic frontier is considered too destabilizing or valuable for general release. Number 11. 5,000-year-old penguin graveyard. Whales, seals, albatrosses, seabirds, and penguins are the main residents of the South Pole, enduring its extreme conditions. In 2020, scientists made a remarkable discovery in the Ross Sea region of Antarctica. They stumbled upon a 5,000-year-old graveyard of Adelie penguins, shedding new light on the area's long-standing inhabitants. This region is known to house almost 1 million breeding pairs of Adelie penguins annually. The graveyard contained mummified and seemingly fresh remains of penguin chicks, as well as older fossils.
So there were these incredible fossils. We first discovered them in 2006 that started changing our ideas about penguin evolution,
indicating that the area has served as a penguin breeding ground for millennia. Radiocarbon dating revealed that the penguins occupied the site during 3 distinct periods, with the earliest dating back 5,000 years. The most recent occupation ended around 800 years ago, possibly due to the onset of the Little Ice Age. However, in time, the breeding ground may once again be filled with Adelie penguins, continuing the legacy that began 5,000 years ago. Before we continue, make sure to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell to stay updated with our future videos. Number 10. 1 million-year-old DNA. In the frigid waters of the Scotia Sea, just north of Antarctica, a momentous breakthrough has been achieved by scientists. They have unearthed ancient DNA from deep-sea sediments, dating back an astonishing 1 million years. This extraordinary discovery represents the most ancient marine sedimentary DNA ever documented, commonly referred to as cDNA. So what exactly is cDNA? It can be likened to a molecular time machine, a cutting-edge technique that enables researchers to peer into the past and unravel the identities of past oceanic life forms and their time of existence. This revolutionary method is of utmost significance, as it provides insights into marine organisms that do not leave behind fossils, such as krill, a vital food source for Antarctic wildlife, including penguins, seals, and whales. To achieve this breakthrough, an international team, including scientists from the University of Tasmania and the University of Bonn, delved deep into the ocean's history, meticulously analyzing sediments collected during the IODP Expedition 382 in 2019. Stringent measures were taken to prevent contamination and ensure the authenticity of the ancient DNA they unearthed. Number 9. Shipwreck of Shackleton's Endurance. In Antarctica, the shipwreck of Sir Ernest Shackleton's Endurance has been discovered, marking a remarkable find in the history of polar exploration. The Endurance, famously used by Shackleton during his ill-fated 1914 to 1917 Imperial Trans-Antarctic expedition, became trapped in ice and eventually sank. The wreckage was recently located by a team of researchers exploring the Weddell Sea.
Off the coast of Antarctica, deep underwater, researchers have discovered the British ship called Endurance, the vessel that launched one of the most remarkable stories of survival and determination.
The remains of the ship lie in remarkably good condition, preserved by the freezing waters. This discovery offers a unique glimpse into the heroic and tragic story of Shackleton and his crew, who endured incredible hardships and ultimately survived against all odds. The shipwreck serves as a poignant reminder of the indomitable spirit and resilience displayed by these explorers in the face of extreme adversity. It also contributes to our understanding of early Antarctic exploration and the enduring legacy of Shackleton's expedition. Number 8. Wood-eating fungi. Scientists stumbled on a strange type of fungi that actually eats wood within the treeless landscape of Antarctica. And get this, they were chowing down on historical artifacts from the days of polar exploration. These fungi were observed deteriorating the wooden shelters erected by renowned adventurers such as Ernest Shackleton and Robert Scott more than a century ago. It is intriguing to note that these wood-consuming fungi managed to thrive despite the absence of any trees on the frigid continent for millions of years. One cannot help but be astonished by the unexpected presence of wood-decaying organisms in this region, reminding us once again of nature's endless capacity to surprise. Number 7. Meteorites of the Antarctic. In Antarctica, something remarkable has been discovered. More meteorites have been found there than on all other continents combined. Actually, meteorites can fall anywhere on Earth. These space rocks, remnants from the early days of our solar system, actually fall evenly across the globe. However, there are certain unique conditions in Antarctica that make it a hotspot for meteorite discoveries. One of the reasons is that Antarctica offers a higher chance of preserving meteorites due to its unique environment. Moreover, the continent is mostly devoid of terrestrial rocks, which makes these extraterrestrial visitors stand out prominently. In a thrilling expedition in December 2022, researchers utilized satellite imagery to guide them and successfully uncovered one of the heaviest meteorites ever found in Antarctica. This impressive meteorite weighed a staggering 16.8 pounds. However, it's important to note that weight alone is not the most significant factor when it comes to meteorites. What truly matters is the valuable information they hold about our universe and the formation of our solar system. Who knows what secrets lie within the many space rocks hidden in the vastness of the Antarctic landscape? Number 6. UFO. The snowy landscape of Antarctica recently caught the attention of internet sleuths and conspiracy enthusiasts on Google Maps. Nestled within the coordinates, an intriguing sight emerged, a strange imprint resembling a crashed UFO. This snowbound oddity spans approximately 65 feet in width and extends 230 feet in length, clearly standing out amidst the untouched snow. Valentine DCTV, a Russian enthusiast of all things unexplained, shed light on this anomaly, suggesting that it bears the distinct shape of a UFO. This revelation adds to the growing interest in Antarctica, which is already known for its frequent meteorite discoveries. Could it be that extraterrestrial visitors also find solace on this secluded continent, using it as a shelter for their spacecraft? While this idea is captivating, experts clarify that the apparent alien craft is, in fact, a natural phenomenon called a crevasse, a result of shifting ice that creates awe-inspiring formations. This blend of natural wonders and human imagination continues to fuel the enigma surrounding Antarctica. Number 5. Ice holes asterisk. Back in 2017, the world experienced a colossal hole in Antarctica called the Polynya. This cavernous expanse stretches across a staggering 78,000 square kilometers, making it the largest hole to have emerged in the region since the 1970s. The formation of this hole can be attributed to warm, salty water present in the deeper parts of the ocean. Scientifically referred to as cryoconite holes, these formations consist of ice and dust particles. Within these holes, one can find rocks and even minuscule microbes. These holes have a remarkable ability to absorb heat from sunlight, causing the ice beneath them to melt and thereby creating a collapse-like appearance. Scientists speculate that these holes are likely a result of a combination of unusual ocean conditions, the distinctive weather patterns of Antarctica, and the occurrence of intense storms with hurricane-like winds in the region. With climate change predictions indicating a rise in the frequency of these offshore holes, the potential disasters they may bring forth are truly unsettling. It leaves us contemplating the frightening possibilities that lie ahead. Number 4. Third man factor. The third man factor isn't limited to Antarctica. It's a phenomenon that can occur anywhere. However, explorers have reported particularly strong instances of the third man factor in Antarctic regions. This phenomenon refers to the overwhelming sensation of someone's presence during times of distress. Often, this figure acts as a guiding force when one is lost, providing a sense of safety. Antarctica's harsh conditions and unusual patterns of sunlight and darkness contribute to the prevalence of hallucinations in the area. These hallucinations may be responsible for the manifestation of the third man factor. Explorers have shared accounts of witnessing shadows cast by seemingly invisible entities across the vast landscapes of the region. One notable explorer, Ernest Shackleton, and his entire group experienced this phenomenon during their travels in Antarctica. After an exhausting journey, they attempted to trek to a whaling station on South Georgia Island in search of food and shelter. Throughout the 36-hour trek over mountains and glaciers, the entire group, consisting of 3 individuals, believed that there was a fourth presence accompanying them. Although this sounds weird, several people have experienced this. Number 3. New deepest point on Earth. The Factorian Deep, located 24,400 feet below sea level in Antarctica's frigid Southern Ocean, holds the new record for the greatest terrestrial depth we've reached. To put it in perspective, it's equivalent to stacking about 17 Empire State Buildings from bottom to top. This remarkable discovery was made in 2019 by American explorer and entrepreneur Victor Vescovo, but it wasn't until recently that we were able to map this part of the ocean. The comprehensive mapping revealed previously unseen undersea mountains, canyons, and plateaus beneath the Southern Ocean. This mapping project was made possible by the International Biometric Chart of the Southern Ocean, which has been diligently charting the region since 2013, providing us with valuable insights into our planet. Number 2. Mount Erebus. It may be hard to believe, but Antarctica is actually home to numerous volcanoes, despite being entirely covered in ice. Ross Island, for instance, hosts 4 distinct volcanoes. While 3 of them are currently inactive, the 4th, known as Mount Erebus, has exhibited increased volcanic activity over the past 3 decades. Scientists speculate that this resurgence hints at the potential for further volcanic eruptions. Mount Erebus is a captivating mystery, boasting liquid magma and ancient lava lakes that have been boiling for approximately 1.3 million years. It stands as one of the most active and mysterious volcanoes discovered in Antarctica, towering at an impressive height of 3,800 meters. However, due to its remote and treacherous location, nestled in an unpredictable and hazardous region, our knowledge about the nature of this volcano remains limited. Number 1. The mystifying secrets of Antarctica's Lake Vostok. It is almost difficult to imagine that deep beneath the icy surface of Antarctica is a hidden world called Lake Vostok. Sunlight has not touched this enigmatic realm for millions of years, and it holds numerous secrets that scientists yearn to unlock. Russian geographer Andrei Kapitsa first suspected the presence of this colossal subglacial lake, concealed beneath the East Antarctic ice sheet, based on seismic data analysis in the 1950s. Confirmation came in 1996 through radio echo surveys and satellite measurements, revealing that Lake Vostok is separated from the surface by over 2 miles of ice, making it one of the most remote lakes on Earth.